When Jesus had spoken these words, he went away with his disciples across the ravine of the Kidron, where there was a garden which he entered with his disciples. Now Judas, who was betraying him, also knew the place, because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having obtained the Roman cohort and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, came there with lanterns, torches, and weapons. Jesus, therefore, knowing all things that were coming upon him, came out into the open and said to them, "Whom are you seeking?" They answered him, "Jesus the Nazarene." He said to them, "I am he." And Judas, also, who was betraying him, was standing with them. Now then, when he said to them, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. He then asked them again, "Whom are you seeking?" And they said, "Jesus the Nazarene." Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he, so if you're seeking me, let these men go their way." This took place, so that the word which he spoke would be fulfilled. "Of those whom you've given me, I have lost not one." Then Simon Peter, since he had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's slave and cut off his right ear. And the slave's name was Malchus. So Jesus said to Peter, "Put the sword into the sheath. The cup which the Father has given me, am I not to drink it?" Jesus, I see here you take the step, leading into the place I will never have to go. You were so brave and courageous for us, and I will never have to shoulder the wrath of God for all of the sinful inclinations of my heart. This is love. Jesus, fill my heart with this. And I wonder why they drew back and fell to the ground. Perhaps they expected you to be hiding. Here is the courage of your love again. So shocking that your assailants fall to the ground. And I see that you did not allow defensive self-protection of Peter's sword to try to prevent you from your courageous, strong, suffering sacrifice for us. So the Roman cohort, the commander and the officer of the Jews, arrested Jesus and bound him, and brought him into Annas first, who was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year. Now Caiaphas was the one who had advised the Jews that it was in their best interest for one man to die on behalf of the people. Simon Peter was following Jesus, and so was another disciple. Now the disciple was known to the high priest, and he entered with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter was standing at the door outside. So the other disciple, who was known to the high priest, went out and spoke to the doorkeeper and brought Peter in. Then the slave woman, who was the doorkeeper, said to Peter, "You are not also one of this man's disciples, are you?" He said, "I am not." Now the slaves and the officers were standing there, having made a charcoal fire, for it was cold, and they were warming themselves. And Peter also was with them, standing and warming himself. Jesus, you bring the parts of us that keep denying you throughout the day, our brokenness, out from under the curse to your blessing. The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. Jesus answered him, "I've spoken openly to the world. I always taught in synagogues and in the temple area where all the Jews congregate, and I said nothing in secret. Why are you asking me? Ask those who've heard what I spoke to them. Look, these people know what I said." But when he said this, one of the officers who was standing nearby struck Jesus, saying, "Is that the way you answer the high priest?" Jesus answered him, "If I have spoken wrongly, testify of the wrong. But if rightly, why do you strike me?" So Annas sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. Jesus, I see that like the officer, we would rather attack or retaliate than face the truth about ourselves. I defend because I need to be good. I've not accepted your love just as I am. This is why I strike even when others are right. I feel tired. I've carried this burden of self-protection my whole life. Jesus, I want to trust you where you're taking me. accepting, truly and fully receiving your love along the way, not needing to be good or right or better or defend. Jesus, I surrender myself to you. I receive your love. Now Simon Peter was still standing and warming himself. So they said to him, "You're not one of his disciples as well, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." One of the slaves of the high priest, who was related to the one whose ear Peter cut off, said, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?" Peter then denied it again, and immediately a rooster crowed. The whole world is crumbling and falling apart around you, Jesus, scattering, denying, accusing, lying, striking, self-defending. You are the perfect high priest. You are completely and perfectly strong. You're making a way for us to come into the presence of God and His love that we so desperately need. I pause and consider, what is my rooster? Then they brought Jesus from Caiaphas into the praetorium, and it was early, and they themselves did not enter the praetorium, so that they would not be defiled, but might eat the Passover. Therefore Pilate came out to them and said, "What accusation are you bringing against this man?" They answered and said to him, "If this man were not a criminal, we would not have handed him over to you." So Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." The Jews said to him, "We are not permitted to put anyone to death." This happened so that the word of Jesus which he had said, indicating what kind of death he was going to die, would be fulfilled. Therefore Pilate entered the praetorium again and summoned Jesus and said to him, "You're the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Are you saying this on your own, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate answered, "I'm not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would be fighting, so that I would not be handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not of this realm." Therefore Pilate said to him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say correctly that I am a king. For this purpose I have been born, and for this I have come into the world to testify to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And after saying this, he came out again to the Jews and said to them, "I find no grounds at all for charges in his case. However, you have a custom that I release one prisoner for you at Passover. Therefore, do you wish that I release for you the king of the Jews?" So they shouted again, saying, "No, not this man, but Barabbas." Now Barabbas was a rebel. Jesus, I see that Pilate is not threatened by you, nor does he find you guilty. It seems to me that we find fault with people who threaten us, like the Jewish leaders finding fault with you. And I also see, Jesus, that I think your narrative is that you understand that you are the true Passover being prepared, and that you are the true king of a realm and time that supersedes all of this. You're not a threat, but a support, the support. And you have come to tell us the truth.